What's up, everybody? This is the Tied to the Land podcast, where we believe that everybody is tied to the land in some way, shape, or form. On this podcast, we'll explore the intimate connection that people feel with the land beneath their feet, while telling the stories of folks whose lives have been impacted by their roots to the rural lifestyle. This podcast is brought to you by Arrowhead Land Company, where their mission is to create, inspire, or advance a connection to the land in every person throughout the world. All right, everybody. We're here on the Tied to the Land podcast. Got my boy Tony Cerar. He's a rural real estate specialist with us here at Arrowhead Land Company. One of our veteran dudes, one of the best at what he does. And we're going to break it down today. We're going to talk about a little life, talk about a little business. We got our grand opening today. It's October 13th. It's a Friday the 13th, but we don't believe in bad luck here. Only good luck and winning, right?
We're winning.
So, man, thanks for coming in.
No problem.
We're sitting here. Emotions are high. Like, there's been a lot of buildup to this day. And I know that you haven't been inside the office per se, but you just had your first closing here today, right?
Correct, yes.
So tell us about that a little bit. It was a buddy of yours.
Yep.
And he's never owned land before.
That's right.
You know, you guys do some business together. He's in accounting and you work with him. But, I mean, tell me what it was like to sell your buddy his first farm and then to close in this office for the first time. And now we're about to celebrate just the company and everything we've accomplished thus far and being here. Like, Talk to me about that, how that feels.
Man, what a great day. First off, thanks for providing this platform for us to work in and close deals in. And it was a great day. Chad, the guy we closed with, has been a friend of mine since elementary school. It's his first land purchase. He's been talking with me and following me in my land endeavors for the last 13 years. And so today was a big day for him. It was a big day for me. It was my first closing in this beautiful office, so that was pretty amazing also. And then just being able to spend the time here with the community, get ready for our grand opening. Couldn't ask for a better Friday, man.
So, Chad, tell me a little bit more about that. Like, it didn't sound to me like he's an outdoorsman necessarily, or, you know, maybe not a diehard hunter like you. I mean, would you say that you were a pretty large influence on his decision to eventually buy land? Yeah.
So when he's been a CPA for several years, he's very good at what he does. He's been my personal CPA as well as one of my best friends. And as we've been moving through this, he just has got a couple other customers that are farmers and that have made some land investments, and he sees the return from them. He sees what I do to make a living, and he sees how much enjoyment me and my son have on our personal property and on some of these listings that we're allowed to spend some time on. And this was a deal where he was looking for an opportunity in the future to make some sort of a good income in the outdoors. And he's not a big hunter. He was never exposed to it. He really is not a killer type guy anyway.
Yeah. He seemed like a good dude.
Yeah.
He didn't strike me as like I'm going to kill a deer and paint blood on my face type of guy. You know what I mean?
No, great, but great guy. But for sure, that's really not his thing. So he had a customer that had a nursery and has had it for several years. And he gets to obviously see how well he does with the nursery because he is his CPA. So he made a good deal with this gentleman and purchased that nursery. And so this investment for him was applicable to that purchase because he's able to now go put his greenhouses and kind of follow a recipe for to start producing these plants and shrubs and trees and everything else. So it's super cool. And I think it also is a testament to Arrowhead and the agents and our marketing ability and us being able to not just get the job done when it comes to cattle farms, tillable farms, and hunting farms. But I mean, if you have, commercial property, or if you were looking for a specialized type of farm for something that maybe doesn't apply to the normal, goals that a lot of people have on property, I mean, our brokerage, our agents, we can still get that done for you.
Yeah, man. I think that's super important to highlight because one of the goals of Arrowhead Land Company, and really the reason we're doing this podcast, is because I think we get caught in our own little bubble of what we appreciate and enjoy out of the land, right?
No
it's
doubt.
Like you and I are outdoorsmen, we're hunters, fishers, whatever, but there's so many people out there that are tied to the land in ways that have nothing to do with the ways that we're tied to the land, right? So we like to hunt, fish, camp, just be outdoors, but there's other guys who they just bought a piece of property so that they could put greenhouses on it, so that they could have their nursery and expand their current operations.
Correct.
I always use the example, there's probably somewhere in rural Nevada that somebody just bought 40 acres so they could build a dirt bike track on it. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
There's somebody who just bought their first 5-acre parcel of land so that they could raise honeybees on it. I mean, it's like there's so many cool stories out there. We just had a guy in yesterday. We have a beautiful painting hanging in our training center, and this gentleman painted this painting. I don't know if you've even seen it yet. And he was telling us his story about how he got into what he paints, which is like Native American scenes and settings and the mountains. And he's gone out to Colorado elk hunting a ton over his lifetime. And he's just really taken a liking to what that was like in history. And now it's coming out through his artwork. And he owns land because of his appreciation for those things. And anyways, he's got an awesome farm here in Oklahoma. And it was kind of cool in the moment hearing him talk about why he owns land and how his history in the mountains has impacted that, and just super cool stuff, man. So something you mentioned, though, was you enjoy getting outside with your boy. You enjoy getting outside and hunting with him and fishing with him. I mean, tell me a little bit about how this job and this career path that you've chosen as a rural real estate specialist has helped you further embrace those moments with your son and just get outdoors. And I know that that's going to tug at your heartstrings a little bit, man, when you probably sit and break it down. But, like, just talk to us about that and what that's like, being able to share that with him and then just instill in him the values that the outdoors has taught you.
Yeah, that's a great question, and I can't wait to give you that explanation. So, I was going through. I feel like it's important to a little bit of the backstory because if my story or the way I came into this business could inspire somebody or get somebody to step out of their box, that would be great. So, I was going through a point in time where I was going to be a father, and I had always wanted a great job in the outdoors and to find a way to make a significant living, not just bottom of the spectrum as far as income goes. And I was willing to do the work. I just didn't know what it was going to be. Sure. And I was watching my outdoor shows one day and, kind of came across some information there and ended up, seeking out this opportunity in this industry. And fast forward 13 years later, I couldn't feel more thankful or more blessed to have been able to make a living in the outdoors, a significant living, and be able to expose myself and my son to all kinds of different relationships with different types of landowners, different types of buyers, friendships that I've made through those interactions. And then as far as my son and I directly go, I mean, there's no one else I'd rather spend time with in the outdoors. There's no one else I'd rather mentor to. And being able to hunt and fish and hike and camp, and just one of the things my son says all the time is the journey. So some people don't like their hunting farm to be more than 30 minutes or 45 minutes from the house. We drive 2 hours or so about every time we go. But when him and I get home and we reflect on the trip, if we were successful or not successful, that really doesn't matter. We enjoy the journey, according to my son. So I think that's something that, when somebody steps into land ownership or even steps into a job in this industry, you have some opportunities there that are unique to this job in this industry. And, if you do a good job in forming those relationships with your customers, a lot of them are gracious enough to allow you access to their property while you're marketing it for them so that you can enjoy some of the things. And that's unique to this industry. It's not an opportunity that everybody gets, but we get an opportunity to build trust with people. And through that trust, it opens up so many doors that I'm incredibly thankful for over the last 13 years. And then obviously the relationship with my son wouldn't be near what it is if we hadn't had the time in the outdoors together that we've had. Yeah,
man. I think it's important to stop and reflect on where we started versus where we're at now, right? Because if you're like me, I mean, you're always working towards your goals and you're looking towards the future, but sometimes you forget about how far you've come, right?
Well, and quite frankly, I was not ever going to be a real estate agent. I mean, being a real estate agent wasn't something that, I didn't have any family members that were real estate agents. I didn't have anybody, that was like, hey, you need to get into real estate or it'd be really good for you. It was totally a deal where I just knew what I would be hopefully good at and where my value would lie in a real estate setting, and it's in the land business and doing exactly what we do. So I went and got my real estate license specifically for this kind of a gig.
Yeah.
Not because I just wanted to jump into real estate and saw people posted online and thought it looked cool and, whatever. This was my agenda.
Yeah.
And I was able to go and get it done specifically because of the opportunity that I had.
Yeah, man. So I want to think about this, like even at a deeper level. I want you to just stop and kind of reflect for a second. I mean, you found out you were going to be a dad. How old were you?
I was 27.
27 when you found out that you were going to be a dad?
26 or 27. Right,
okay.
Right there.
Yeah. And what was life like then? I mean, were you worried you were going to make ends meet? Were you wondering how the heck am I going to do this? I mean, I know you weren't selling real estate at the time, right? When you found out that you were going to be a dad. I mean, I want you to go back to those days and really think about what life was like and break that down for me a little bit. And then I want to talk about how far you've come and what your life looks like now. And, you just shared some of the things you're doing with your son, but talk to us about just what it was like when you're just like, man, what am I going to do? And how God led you to where you're at now is just, I think it's a super cool story. So break that down a little more for us. And like just what was, I know you still remember those moments and you remember those days. And
like it was yesterday, man. I mean, when I started working when I was 14 years old for a landscape company, and I was mowing and doing landscaping work and stuff like that up until I could drive. And then when I got the opportunity to drive, it was always a sales endeavor. And even though, doing landscaping or mowing yards, initially that was my first gig. And then I got a gig selling minnows and tackle at Okie Bait and Tackle in Broken Arrow. Some people may remember that back in the day out on 71st Street.
What's the margin on a minnow?
I don't know. We sold like 12 or 24 of them at a time. I couldn't really tell you. But anyway, I started in the bait store mowing grass, and any way you broke it down, it was sales. I mean, to go get an account when you're in the lawn business, you've got to go sell yourself to that customer and prove your value and hope that they give you a chance to mow their grass.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're in the retail sales, granted it's not outside sales, but people are coming in, your job is still to make a sale and get them some product. So that evolved into the restaurant business. Again, even though it's the restaurant business, still, in my opinion, a form of sales. You're selling food, you're selling drinks, you're selling yourself to these people, and hopefully you get a nice tip out of it. Then it moved into selling furniture at Mathis Brothers. And so the moral of the story is it was always a sales gig that I was into, and it was always what worked best for me personally. But I was always yearning for that opportunity to work somewhere and to do something that is what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Like when I woke up in the morning, it wasn't, hey, we're going to go mow grass today, or hey, we're going to go to the restaurant today, or hey, we're going to go help a buddy with, his company or his job or, whatever. It was, hey, we're going to go and we're going to spend time on land today.
Yeah.
Whether we're helping somebody buy, whether we're helping somebody sell, whether we're setting something up for the fall for our personal enjoyment. So I was literally the guy walking around at Mathis Brothers in a suit and tie with a Monster Buck magazine in my back pocket.
Yeah.
Deer and Deer Hunting magazine, Bow Hunter magazine, all the magazine, North American Whitetail. I would have a different one in my back pocket every day, and the people at work would be like, "What are you doing, man? Like what?"
Yeah.
So it was more or less, the passion for the outdoors, and then several years of just working the ladder, trying to figure out where my calling was and how I could get there. And then when I kind of, just put it all together, my son obviously was a huge catalyst, finding out I was going to be a father.
Yeah.
But that opportunity has done so much for me. And I do remember all of the things and the time and the investment in the different sales endeavors that kind of built me and got me to the point where I could do this for the last 13 years. So yeah, it was, I was an only child. Parents were divorced. I've truly pretty much, I have a great family. I was covered in love my whole life, but I've pretty much worked for everything I have.
Sure.
I've never had a, massive inheritance. I wasn't gifted a farm or two from, someone in my family. So this is something that I'm passionate about. I take a little bit of pride in the fact that I'm just now 40 years old and I've been in the industry for 13 years. There's a lot of real estate agents that, come and go and, come back and go again. So I'm super thankful I've been able to sustain it, and it means the world to me being able to do this.
Yeah, man. So what's interesting to me about that is it's always been about the land, right?
Always.
You've always been rooted in the land. From when you were selling minnows to fishermen to you were at Mathis Brothers, and you knew that, hey, that probably wasn't your gig, but you had the Big Buckmasters, magazine in your back pocket, and now you get into real estate and you're getting to spend time every single day in God's creation out on the land. And I think that's so true for so many of us out there, that we might not be exactly where we want to be, or maybe we're somewhere knowing it's just a temporary fix on our journey or a temporary stop on our journey. But like, if you're like me and you, it all comes back to the land.
Yeah.
It all comes back to just our roots to the land and our ties to the land, and how it's quite literally shaped our lives.
No
right?
doubt. No doubt.
So you have had some success in the real estate world, selling land. I know you, how do I want to put this? You've come a long ways since starting your real estate journey. You've worked for other brokerages. You've started your own brokerage. And now you're here with us at Arrowhead Land Company, which I love and I'm so grateful for. Talk to us about the opportunity here and how it's been different from those other stops in your real estate journey, and talk about just what it's afforded you to do, and maybe how it's different than what it was, or how you look at your career through a different lens now. I mean, what's that been like for you since you've been here, as you look back and you compare it to the other stops on your journey?
Yeah. Well, not because we're on camera, but I have to give credit to you and Will a lot on that. It goes without being said that having two guys as leaders of your brokerage that have experienced a high level of success in the industry themselves, and are also built to work and are not afraid to work themselves. I feel like it's a little bit unique overall in the real estate world, whether it be residential, land, commercial. I think not all brokers, so don't come at me, but a lot of brokers, I feel like.
This is a safe space, by the way. You can say whatever you need
to. Building a
Yeah.
brokerage is a way for an individual, sometimes I feel like, that has the intelligence to pass the tests and has the ability to get those licenses, but maybe doesn't have the tenacity to go out and produce in the real world like their agents or their top agents will.
Yeah.
So I think because you and Will have led by example and have built respect through the leadership you guys display, it makes it even easier for us to get up every day and go hustle, because when the people that are leading your team are willing to do the same, it can't not inspire the rest of the agents and employees within the brokerage. And that's something I feel like is unique, because most of these brokers, in my opinion and in my experience in the past, do not have the commitment to leading by example like what Arrowhead has going on here. So it's something that I'm grateful for, because no matter, I feel like, no matter how old somebody is, or no matter how much experience they've had in a certain avenue or industry, like, we all need some motivation.
Yeah,
we
man.
all need some inspiration.
Absolutely.
And when you've got a team around you that you're not gonna, there's a slim chance you're gonna be number one, because you've got a bunch of other killer guys. So it's, it's like having a whole bunch of number ones essentially on the same team. And I think that any man or young man that enjoys sports or competition or is a motivated individual would be lying if they didn't say that it's going to help their success and contribute to their success when they've got a team assembled that is literally an all-star team.
For sure.
So being a part of Arrowhead, being a part of this team, it's not just you got a new gig, you transferred your license to a new brokerage, you met some new people, you got a breath of fresh air, and you're fired up. There is so much value here, and there is so much more to offer here than your run-of-the-mill real estate brokerage, from the individuals within the brokerage, the leaders of the brokerage, the setting that you get to enjoy being on this team. So, man, I couldn't be more happy to be with Arrowhead after I came here a year and some change. So, after 12 years of, moving around a little bit and, feeling things out for myself, I think if I'm ever done here, I'll be done, period.
Yeah, man. So. That just gave me goosebumps because that's really our goal, right? As leaders and as, the people inside the walls of this office, we want to make it so good for you that you want to be here the rest of your life, and that's genuine. And something you touched on was just hard work and not being afraid to put in the work. And, if you can remember when we got started, it was hardworking agents serving hardworking landowners until everybody else wanted to talk about hard work. And then we had to mix it up a little bit, yeah. But we still believe that. And we live that every single day. You can't be afraid to put in the work. And I don't care what your position is. I don't care if you're a 12-year agent. I don't care if you're a brand new agent. I don't care if you're the leader of this company or if you just started with this company. Every single person that we bring on is willing to roll up their sleeves and put in the work. And at the end of the day, we're all going to be different. We all have different strengths and weaknesses. But if we all have the same work ethic, and that drive and that tenacity, because it's a dog-eat-dog world, man. Mm-hmm. And if you're not willing to come in and get it every single day at whatever it is you're doing, somebody out there is going to outwork you, And so at the end of the day, we're going to hang our hats or we're going to lay our heads down on the pillow at night knowing that we outworked everybody else. Maybe we fell short in some ways, but at least we gave it everything we had. You know what I mean? And
no doubt.
And so I think it's a testament to the culture we're building here, and it's a testament to guys like you who have helped bring that culture to life because you're a hard worker. Like you said earlier, you've worked for everything you have. You're teaching your boy the value of hard work and what it takes to hunt big bucks and what it takes to be good at sports. I know he's a big baseball player, and man, I just we want to live that. That's the lifestyle that we want to embody, and it's cool to listen to you talk about it.
Yeah, and I do want to say too, when I say that, everything I've got, I've worked for. I don't mean that in a sense like. The Lord has provided the everything for me, the opportunities for me. He's built me. He's given me the physical ability and the mental capacity to cultivate this passion of mine. And so I don't take all of the credit. I mean, my Lord and Savior is who's going to get that credit at the end of the day. And honestly, I haven't always been the strongest in my faith, but being able to work in an environment like this and be surrounded by other quality men and women and be able to be in the outdoors and enjoying God's creation, it really hits home. And for most people that get to do what we do, you can't not spend an hour or two in the outdoors on a beautiful morning or on a beautiful evening, whether it be on your tractor or whether it be walking a new farm or whether it be just out enjoying a 2 or 3 hour hunt with your family or friend or whoever. You can't not, that can't not contribute to your faith.
Yeah.
And it can't not help you realize like there's a higher power that has provided so much for us to enjoy. And that can't not resonate with someone when you're in the outdoors on a consistent basis and you truly enjoy it and it's something that drives you. So I don't ever want it to seem like anything that's happened in my life is all on me.
Yeah.
Because I'll be the first one to admit it's not all because of me. Yeah. It's just in the physical world. All I'm saying is that I've put a lot of time and hard work in, to get where I'm at.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know about you. I go to church. I love the church that I'm a part of, but I feel a little bit closer to God when I'm out on the land.
No doubt.
I mean,
no doubt.
Without a doubt, I feel closer to the big man upstairs. And I always say, like, if you don't believe in God, let me take you out on the land, Let me show you everything around us and, like, feel it for yourself. Mm-hmm. Feel his creation. And I think that to have a career where you get to do that every day, man, it's special. And then something we haven't even talked about yet is just the ability to impact people through this career and through this profession. And I think that God, outside of all the creation and the beauty that he's given us just being out on the land, I mean, the people you meet in this business and their stories, and it's almost like he's using us as a vessel to help other people and to reach these other people and hear their stories and help them. And everybody's different, you know.
No doubt.
Every story's so different, and that's one of the things I enjoy most about this profession and being in real estate is just how many people you can touch.
Yep.
And how many people you get to hear their stories and you get to tell them yours, and they're like, you know, sometimes it's a 80-year-old farmer, man, and he's seen it all, he's done it all, he's lived through the Great Depression, he's served in wars, I mean, whatever you want to call it, I mean, he's got some wisdom that he can bestow onto you, and so you show up thinking, hey, I'm going to tell this guy, you know, what he needs to do, what his land's worth, and then it ends up being like an education lesson for you, you know?
That's great.
And so I love that part about it too.
Yep.
Dude, so, you know, we've been talking a little bit about just Arrowhead Land Company and what we do here and maybe how it's a little different. Talk a little bit about just how being here has freed you up, not only increased your business and your earnings in this profession. I mean, you've been doing this for 12 years, and I think you're on pace to have your best year ever, if I'm not mistaken.
Could be, yeah. Could be.
Talk about just your quality of life, what it was compared to what it is now, and maybe how that's changed, and maybe it hasn't changed. I'm shooting from the hip here. This is unscripted. Yeah. So, I mean, just having to get home at night and do everything yourself, from the contracts to the photography to all the little things. Like, so we've been talking about the glamorous parts of this job. This job is not always glamorous. No. I mean, there's a lot of stress, and there's a lot of behind the scenes time spent behind a computer, you know, sitting at a desk, maybe even more so than the glamorous parts of being on the land we were just talking about. But talk about how being here has impacted or shaped or affected your work-life balance, and, you know, some of the tools and the things that we offer here, how it's enabled you to be better at what you do, be more fulfilled in what you're doing, and then free you up in such a way where you can reinvest that time back into your business to help you grow more, or you can reinvest that time into your personal life to help that grow more and to help that blossom.
Yeah, no doubt. So again, it really truly goes a lot back to the structure of this brokerage that you and Will have put into place. And I think when you have leaders that know what it takes to be efficient, and that are putting their strategy and their tactics in place based on past personal experience.
Yeah.
And those guys happen to be some of the best in the country at what they did when they were really, really, you know, at it before you guys went to building this place. I think it makes it obvious for us as agents when we come on board, when you guys say, hey, check this plan that we got out. This is what's going to happen. This is kind of our procedures and our processes. And for somebody who's been in the industry for a while, I mean, not very many people get a personal assistant, get a field guy, and get first-class customer service from, you know, the people in the brokerage. There's a lot of brokerages out there say, oh, you know, I'm the broker. If you need anything, call me. You know, if you need anything, text me. And you can do that, but it might be 4 hours or 6 hours or the next day before they actually get back to you or are able to help you with the problem. So, you know, here, having a systematic approach that's already proven, I mean, man, if you can make the team, you're on. You can in a sense, as long as you continue to do what's called from you, you can almost put it on cruise control and just run the plan, and just work the plan. And I think some of the people that may hear this and know who Arrowhead is and know the kind of marketing strategies that they're already seeing on our billboards and in our mailers, and you know, as much as they're seeing that physical proof of what we're doing, there's behind the scenes stuff going on that you guys are always working on too, to help better position us. So there's always something coming around the corner that's another innovative and new marketing approach. And when you're at a stagnant brokerage or you're a stagnant agent, the two of those things just you know, they don't produce. And so here, I mean, it makes your opportunities to increase your clientele and increase your business and obviously your income, having everything streamlined, and you not having to go home at night after you've spent 8, 10, 12 hours on the road and spend another 4 or 5 hours on the computer because your customer has expectations to see their listing online at a certain amount of time, or because you got to get this offer in a certain amount of time. Being able to stop my truck and pull over on the side of the highway or at a Brahms for 10 or 15 minutes and just shoot the girls here at the office, a note, give them some specifics, or even you or Will or whoever, we may need, and to get that feedback, and sometimes get it within 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and to get a phone call if there's any miscommunication or something's not completely clear. I mean, just the initiative that everyone takes here, the goals that everyone has here, and the streamlined process that has been proven to work by guys that were leaders in the industry prior to building the brokerage. I mean, what else can somebody expect or want whenever they move to a new brokerage?
Yeah, man. I think I don't care how big of a badass you are, how great at sales you are, how long you've been in this business. I think we all experience burnout at times, right? And if you don't have those tools in place, you don't have those people to support you, you don't have those people to lift you up and pump you up, or simply just help you in your business, I mean, you will eventually, it'll start to wear on a man.
No doubt.
Or a gal, there's plenty of guys and gals in this business who they're experiencing some of the things that we're talking about. And so we want to make the lives of our agents as great as possible. We want to set you up for success. I think it goes without saying that without hard work, actually, I don't think it goes without saying. I want to digress a little bit, because I think a lot of people come into this business with the perception that what we do is easy, right?
No doubt.
I mean,
I see new land brokerages popping. I saw 2 of them this week. Residential brokerages that are now land brokerages.
And I don't blame them, because, they see maybe the more glamorous side of some of the things we were talking about earlier, but this is not an easy business. No. And I've watched a lot of people come in and thinking that this would be a cakewalk, or thinking they'd just make another however much money they thought they were going to make. And it takes work. It takes effort. It takes putting in the grind every single day, dude. And it's just like, I'm just amazed at the number of people who have no idea really what it takes to be successful.
For sure.
And, and that's probably every career, right? We're always looking over the fence like, oh, yeah, I could do what that guy does, or that can't be that hard. I mean, right. I'd do that. But this is not a business where you're going to walk in, start from scratch, and just make $1 gajillion overnight.
No doubt.
I mean, it's a grind. It's hard to get going, and it's even harder to find that success, that longevity in the business. But I think that if we can help provide that for people, assuming they're willing to put in the work, and assuming we continue down this path of hiring badass people who are willing to work hard and put forth the energy and the time and the money that it takes to really ramp up and get going, it's a recipe for success. But man, I just feel like it's worth calling attention to that this is not an easy business.
No.
And it takes a lot of hard work, and there's sleepless nights, and you lay your head down on the pillow and you're just like, oh my gosh, I got to do this still. I got to do this in the morning. I got to be on the road by 4:30 to get to this appointment. But I just remembered that I need to talk to, somebody at the office, let me call Andrew really quick. And, then we talk, and it's just like, it's never ending.
No doubt.
And it can consume you, but you've got to be willing to put in the work. And I feel like a lot of people aren't. And especially coming off the heels of arguably the I don't want to call it the easiest, because that's degrading, but the market we were just in, I mean, if you had a pulse, you could sell real estate.
Oh, man, yeah.
I'm just going to call it how it is.
For sure.
A lot of people got into the business over the past couple years and found immediate success, and now things are tightening up a little bit, and it's not that it's a bad market. It's just a different market that they've never seen. And if you're not willing to put in the work, this market will get the best of you. And so for anybody out there willing to put in the work, we got the tools, and we're willing to help you. And I'm just happy that you've been able to find some value in what we have going here, and that you're still steamrolling, baby. I mean, just keep doing what you do.
And I think I think there's like something to be said on for the general public on the land brokerages and the land, all these. So, I mean,
will you drop me a pin to this property? How many times do you get that?
Yeah. Or can you show it for me too?
Yeah.
I mean, like what? And so I think what people have to realize is you see a lot of today's land agents selling 2 acre and 5 acre and 3 acre tracts. And what people have to truly understand about that is there's a big difference between land brokerages that sell investment properties and recreational properties and tillable farms and cattle farms
versus lots in town.
So I see a lot of residential agents trying to catch a little bit of the land clout or get a couple of those larger commissions if possible. So they throw the land agent in front of them. And when you're talking lot splits and you're talking, 2 acre tracts and, it's land, but we sell land. We are a land company. So there's a different prestige to selling, to me personally, a 500 acre or 1,000 acre or a 200 acre tract of land for that matter, opposed to a 5 acre lot split or splitting 5 acres into 2.5 acre tracts. So I feel like there's so many brokerages out there anymore that are all trying to get a piece of the pie. And if you're an educated consumer and you take some time to vet these brokerages and do a little bit of research, you truly find out that not only are we a land brokerage, like we'll do whatever we need to do to help our customers, and we're not going to turn down anything that has to do with the land, but when it comes to marketing your 1,000 acre ranch or your 2,000 acre cattle farm or, your big tillable property, you can't afford to mess up and not go with a true land brokerage, because the marketing techniques, the strategies they have in place, the money they're spending on various types of internet marketing, it's vastly different than what you're going to get from a brokerage that's got just a little local reach and the local MLS. And so I just think that that's something that people need to educate themselves on and understand that. And it also goes, just to touch on it a little bit more, I mean, if you did kind of a study on brokerages and agents that are able to get the listings for their customers and then also consummate a sale on that property, and that agent be willing or being able to get both sides of that commission. And I think sometimes people look at that as, oh, you got lucky, or, oh, that doesn't really happen that often, and only in these real rural areas where, you get a chance to speak with both buyer and seller. But I think that that's still a testament to our marketing and our strategies, because when your agents are getting both sides of the deal, it not only says, hey, our marketing is on point on the listing side, but our agent and our marketing on the selling side is on point also. Yeah. And so if we're able to produce that listing and that sale, to me, it's not lucky. It's a testament to the agent that was involved in the sale and the brokerage as a team. And we're producing results on both ends of the spectrum. Yeah. And whereas a lot of these people, you post something on social media, they just, showcase a nice sale you did or a nice property you got to work on. And more times than not, there's negative things to say, or you'll have so many more views than you do, likes or whatever, because people, for whatever reason, don't understand. Like, I mean, I'm happy for you if you get both sides of it. Mm-hmm. Why is that not something that we're all shooting for? Yeah. And so I think that also, a lot of agents list farms and they don't sell, or list houses, residential agents, and they don't sell them. They just simply put it online and kind of just kick back and wait for the phone to ring, because our market for the last 2-3 years says, hey, it's going to sell. Yeah. So I think when you have a brokerage that's consistently getting probably 50 to 70% of their deals, they're getting both sides of the deal on, I think that's something that people should, pay attention to. And if you don't ask that question, or if you don't have a conversation like this where you can expose that, it's not a bragging technique. It's something that it's significant. Yeah. It's something that as a customer, I mean, man, these guys are not just waiting. They're not just sitting at their house waiting for their phone. Putting in the work. They're out here, meeting people, scheduling showings the day after they list the farm, going around, putting different types of signs up in different places, dropping off our magnets that you guys got, So it's just, there's a vast difference between a true land brokerage and your residential agent that's trying to fly under the land agent flag. And I just encourage the public to ask some questions and make sure if you've got a property to sell or you're looking to buy a farm, who's going to really be able to talk to you about the production on that property?
Yeah.
Who's going to really be able to talk to you about the potential? And there's a good chance if you're dealing with one of us, you're dealing with a landowner.
Yeah.
So that's very unique in a sense that there's not very many residential real estate agents out there that can say they own 10, 50, 100 acre farm along with their home or whatever it is. So those are just some things that as we're wrapping up, I just feel like, whoever hears this, if they're intrigued by real estate, if they are thinking about buying or selling real estate and it has to do with land, not a 2 acre, corner lot somewhere, or a 4 acre, split of a 10 4 acre lot, whatever it may be. It's just ask questions, do some research, go to the internet, see who's got a real presence, see who owns that land watch, that county, and make your decision accordingly. Don't just go with whoever you saw on social media that had the most likes and a new cool name or whatever.
Well, yeah, man. And I think you make a lot of great points there, and none of it's meant to be, a diss on anybody else or confrontational. I think there's a couple things that I want to point out is everybody knows real estate agents in their life, right? So like if you're thinking about selling a piece of property or you're thinking about buying a piece of property, I mean, there's a good chance you may call your buddy just because somebody who's not in the business kind of puts everybody under the same umbrella, right? Like, oh, you're a real estate agent. You can help me. Well, there's many different types of real estate and different specialties and different just knowledge levels that it takes to sell a piece of real estate. Like something that I've always been fascinated by is, I don't know about you, but I've never gone into downtown Tulsa and looked at which commercial office building that I could help somebody sell. You know what I mean?
Never.
It's not in our wheelhouse. It's not what we do. And so the desire for other people to play on other sides of the fence in terms of what they're really skilled at, it's always fascinated me because at the end of the day, it comes back to the client and doing what's best for the client and making sure that we're not disservicing the client. It's about doing what's best for them. And sometimes what's best for the client is saying, man, we've been buddies since high school. Yeah, I'm a real estate agent. I'd love to help you, but this is just a little bit outside my wheelhouse.
For sure.
Let me introduce you to Tony.
Yeah.
Let me introduce you to Steele. Let me introduce you to Chuck, to Will, to, whoever.
Yeah.
Guys who live, eat, sleep, and breathe rural real estate.
Dude, prime example. I have helped 2 or 3 couples find homes in the Tulsa Broken Arrow area this year. I've also had 2 or 3 couples approach me about selling their home. I helped every one of the buyers find a home. I told every one of the sellers who they should list their property with.
Yeah.
Because it's truly not,
It's not what's best for the client.
Right. There's a couple things there. Like
you could go list it and you could bumble your way through that and you could probably put online, but like it's not your expertise, right?
Correct.
And so you're not giving that person the best opportunity to succeed in that transaction. And so you're passing that business to somebody else and creating relationships elsewhere, in different ways. And so it's just always, it's made me laugh or chuckle inside because like, you don't go to your doctor and say, hey, man, let me step in for you today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but everybody can be a land agent.
Yeah, but everybody thinks that what we do, they can do. Or, if your doctor was representing you in a legal case, like, would you feel good about that? No, you want the attorney that knows what they're doing and has been in that profession and went to law school. And so, I think it goes, you could apply it to any industry. Let experts be experts at what they do and what they know about, but at the end of the day, bring it full circle and say, it's because it's best for the client.
Yep.
It's all about what's best for the client. And if I take this on, it's self-serving, right? I'm not a commercial guy. I'm not a residential guy. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer. I'm a rural real estate agent.
For sure.
That's what I do. That's my thing. And if you need help elsewhere, I've got contacts. I can point you in the right direction, but it's not my jam, And I hope that everybody can look at what they do through that same lens. No doubt. It's not it's not a knock on you or what you do or where you come from. It's just matter of fact, you know.
It is.
Doing what's best for the client is not always the easiest, but it's the right thing to do.
For sure.
So,
and I think for an agent to be willing to steer you to somebody that can actually do you a better service, I think that agent, and some people might look at that agent and say, man, I mean, why would you let a listing go, or why would you pass that up? But the flip side of that is how come he's able to do that?
Yeah.
So he's killing it in his lane over here. And because he's killing it in his lane, he's able to pass that buck to somebody that is going to be better served to get that customer taken care of. So I think some people may look at that as, you know, if you're the customer, they might go, he's actually referring me to somebody else. Or if you're somebody else in the industry and you hear, you know, so-and-so actually gave up that listing and referred so-and-so on that. Well, you got to stop and think for a minute. I mean, he's obviously not desperate for money, or else he more than likely would have taken that listing.
Yeah.
So if he's dotting the I's and crossing the T's in the area that he's great at, then it allows him to have the ability to pass that off to somebody that can do a better job for that specific customer.
Yeah.
If it's not in his wheelhouse.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I'd rather be on that, have that guy working for me than I would somebody who really doesn't know how to market the property, really doesn't know how to talk about a residential home, and isn't familiar with all the updates. I mean, I see all this gold stuff that's going in all these new homes, and I'm like, what are these people doing? You know? But I mean, I wouldn't know anything about it. And if somebody was like, hey, I want a new modern design in this home and help me remodel it, I got a half dozen different, I mean, honestly, females that I would refer them to that's what they do.
Yeah.
And so it's not that I don't want the job, or that I don't want, I don't appreciate the customer's willingness to possibly work with me, but I think it's a testament, whether it be me or any other agent, to that agent being able to not have to be desperate for that listing and turn that over to somebody that can do a better job. And at the end of the day, he can focus on what he's really good at. This person, the customer, hopefully gets taken care of. And then that agent and this agent have now formed a working relationship together.
Yeah.
So I think there's just some different aspects, and I appreciate you getting this podcast set up and giving us the opportunity to have some of these conversations, because I think it's stuff that no other brokerages are doing, especially in our local area. I think it's something that it will be very informative to whether it be our customers or anybody who's thinking about being one of our customers. This is something unique, that not a lot of people do. And I think it's cool to be able to cover some of these topics and expose some of this stuff, and then open up for people on some of our social media platforms, or even directly reach out to us and conversate with us based on what they hear, on these podcasts or, in our conversations.
Well, I think it's about adding value, man. And if we can use this platform to add value to our clients and customers, add value to other agents who are in the business, maybe folks who are thinking about getting into the business. I mean, that's what we're here to do, right? At the end of the day, we're a tool to help add value to these people's lives. And I think we can do that here, and I'm excited about it. So I guess to close this thing, I want to ask you one thing. What would you say to somebody who's wanting to get into this business, or maybe they're already in this business and they're thinking about a change, or they're thinking about finding a home somewhere else, a real estate company that maybe has a little bit more to offer, or maybe just the people there are more their style, What would you say to those folks who are in limbo, so to speak, and where they're at in their life or their career, and they've been entertaining, being a rural real estate specialist or getting into the business? What would you say to those folks?
I would say, love it. Know that you love it before you even step into it. Know that if the phone call comes in at 7:30 and they want to talk about how many cows you can run on your new listing, or how much production, the tillable ground, or how big the deer are on the farm, know that if they call you at 7 p.m. and you're sitting on the couch with your son, like I was last night watching the Braves and the Phillies, that you're willing to have a 45-minute conversation, and that your family supports you, and that they either want you to put it on speakerphone because they want to be a part of the deal and hear what's going on. Like my son thinks it's so great to listen to me negotiate a deal. So you've got to have a support system around you first that is willing to deal with what it takes to be successful in this industry. And if you don't have a husband or a wife or a kids or aunts and uncles or grandparents or whoever that can help you and can understand that, hey, you have the opportunity to put as much bread on the table as you want, but it's going to take an army to do it, because if you have a family, if you have a significant other, if you have another business you may own or another obligation, investment wise, there's different things that this job requires, and it's getting up early, it's coming home late, it's being on the phone when you don't really want to be on the phone and you're tired of having to answer to everybody. It's responding to the email, at 11 o'clock or midnight when, somebody wants to make an offer the very next day and they need a little bit of information. So if you're going to come into the industry, you can come into it with huge high hopes and massive expectations, but the only person that's going to really determine whether or not you hit that and you get there is you and the people around you. So if you're low on capital, if you don't have a great support system, if you're kind of, at a point in your life where you're not exactly sure, this is an investment. So it may be time to hit the brakes a little bit, line that stuff out, and then come back. If you're fully ready and you're at a point in your life where you're just looking for something more and you're willing to commit 1,000% and you do love the land and every aspect to it, and you're willing to get educated on aspects of it that you're not maybe familiar with, and make this, it's not just an 8-hour endeavor a day. It's
sure,
and people, we do get freedom. So I'm not trying to make anybody intimidated, because I love the freedom I have and being able to make my own schedule. But I also am willing to answer the phone. I'm willing to return the calls. I'm willing to be the bearer of bad news when it's necessary. And there's a lot of things getting into it that need to be in place with your capital and your support system and your own personal drive and desire. And then when you get here, it's nonstop.
Yeah.
You can't, it's one of the only jobs that I would tell anybody that was coming into it, you're going to get out of it exactly what you put into it.
Amen.
And if you will drive to the country gas stations and little shops, and if you will print out the flyers and you'll spend the extra $500 and you'll go make that, instead of turning left to go hit the highway, and you see the neighboring farmer over there working in his shop with the lights on, you could be home by 9 if you turn left, and maybe 11 or midnight if you turn right. The right thing to do is turn right if you really want to cultivate your business and you really want to grow it.
Yeah, man.
And go talk to that guy and walk right up to him and shake his hand and tell him who you are.
Yeah.
So, if you're not that person, or you don't have the willingness to do those things, maybe this isn't it. If that's the kind of stuff that you love doing, and every fall you're in the outdoors somewhere shaking hands and high-fiving dudes because you're genuinely happy when you see a limited ducks, or you see that big buck they killed, or you hear the farmer and just made a great income on his corn crop or whatever. If you're the guy out there and that kind of stuff gets you excited and you just enjoy that type of life, we're here waiting for you.
Yeah, man. Yeah. We're here. My name's Andrew Schultz, and this is Tony Cerar again. And we're here because we're tied to the land,
For sure.
And that's what has us sitting here right next to each other right now, talking about these things. And so if you feel tied to the land like we are, we want to hear from you. We want to talk to you. Tony, tell everybody about where people can find you. Are you on Facebook, Instagram? Of course, arrowheadlandcompany.com. You've got an agent page there where, your contact information is. But how can people get a hold of you to talk about this?
Yeah, you can. Obviously through the Arrowhead website, we have, all of our listings are on LandWatch and the various land.com sites. So you can get our information there. I think we all have at least a Facebook, if not a Facebook, and an Instagram. Yep. So, just type in our names. If you're not familiar with them, or how to spell them, you can get them off arrowhead.com. But yeah, man, I'm easy to be found. I got 2 phone numbers. I got a 580 phone number and a 918 phone number. I also am part owner of I-35 Big Buck Supply up in Blackwell, just west of I-35. We've got a bunch of, hunting gear and corn and protein for, wildlife. So I'm an easy guy to get a hold of. And I think most of the guys in this brokerage that are hustlers are willing to put themselves out there, and you can contact them just with a little Google search or, type in on any social media platform. My son and I enjoy our Shelby Mustangs, so we've got a TikTok account.
There you go.
You can catch some
there you go.
horsepower
Catch 'em on
in
TikTok.
there. Yeah,
Driving
yeah.
the Stang. I like it.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, appreciate you coming in and sitting down with us today. This has been awesome. Appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, man. Thanks for all you do.
Yeah.